In our third year studying in Germany, Gabriel fell in love with Alice, a student juggling part-time jobs to support herself. To chase after her, he argued endlessly with me about breaking off our engagement. He even declared that I wasn't even worth a single finger of Alice's. They skipped classes, raced cars, and did everything thrilling they could think of. Alice flaunted herself in front of me, claiming that true love is never a crime. I don't know whether true love is a crime, but what I do know is this. These 3 years studying abroad in Germany will undoubtedly be the most unforgettable 7 years of their 5-year student life. Chapter 01. In our third year studying abroad in Germany, Gabriel met Alice, a Chinese girl working part-time at a fast food shop near campus. That day, I was rushing to class and asked him to bring me back a sandwich, but he returned empty-handed, with a sour face. Gabriel complained as soon as he saw me. Is making a sandwich really that hard? That part-time worker messed mine up twice, like a complete idiot. I looked up from my book and thought for a moment. Maybe she couldn't understand your Cantonese accented German? Gabriel shot me a look, then pulled a bar of chocolate from his bag and shoved it into my hand. She's Chinese. Okay, whatever. I was just unlucky. I thought that little mishap was nothing more than a passing episode. But a month later, when I went to that same fast food shop, I met the girl Gabriel had complained about. After paying, I gave my usual order, no tomatoes. The girl behind the counter froze for a second, then suddenly broke into a smile, puzzled. I asked her what was funny. She waved her hand apologetically. Nothing, really. I just remembered that someone else also refused tomatoes not long ago. Aw, sorry. I shouldn't be chatting while working. I was about to say it was fine when I heard a very familiar voice behind me. Alice. Look what I got! The girl, Alice, spun around so suddenly that all the ingredients she had just prepared spilled onto the floor. The man behind me rushed forward, sighing helplessly at her. When will you stop being so clumsy? His tone was filled with unmistakable affection. I turned my head to see my fiancé looking at her that way. Under Gabriel's stunned gaze, I greeted him lightly. Hi. Alice's eyes lit up in surprise. You two know each other? Gabriel. She doesn't eat tomatoes either. I smiled. Yes. We had that in common. Looking him up and down, I asked smoothly. Fiancé, aren't you going to introduce us? Gabriel said nothing. Alice spoke first. Hello. I'm Alice. I'm Gabriel's friend. I matched her light tone with one of my own. I'm Luna, Gabriel's fiancé. The smile on Alice's face froze. She turned toward Gabriel in disbelief. I pressed further, my voice still sugar-sweet. Fiancé. Say something. Under our combined stares, Gabriel finally nodded stiffly. This is my fiancé. The corner of my lips curved upward as I looked at the hot pot seasoning packet in his hand. Isn't that the one my brother mailed me? So you went to pick up my package and somehow ended up here? Gabriel's face turned ugly. Behind the counter, Alice's eyes reddened. She lowered her head, quickly gathered the spilled food, and whispered in a trembling voice, Your sandwich will be ready soon. Before fleeing into the kitchen. Chapter 02. I never did get that sandwich. Gabriel dragged me out of the shop instead. He sat in the car in silence for a long time before finally muttering a sorry. To say I didn't care would be a lie. But in the end, I forgave him. Gabriel and I weren't purely a product of a business arrangement. We had known each other since we were young, childhood friends, of a sort, and in these 3 years of studying abroad in Germany, he had been the only familiar face by my side. Naturally, that built a sense of shared connection, a bond forged by being far from home. Since he had apologized and promised to do better, I gave him one more chance. Besides, it was nearly the end of the semester, and I didn't have the energy to deal with him. With graduation looming next year, I was working around the clock, practically living between campus and home, surviving on caffeine and determination. There weren't many Chinese students at our university, but one of the senior girls had created a WeChat group for us. Sometimes, they would organize casual meetups or game nights. They invited me this time too, but I declined. That night, at around midnight, I walked out of the library. A notification popped up. The senior had sent me a video. Looked like tonight's gathering had taken place at a wine estate. The video featured a couple being cheered on by others. drinking a cross-cupped toast. Ah, good old toxic drinking culture. Even halfway across the world, people couldn't leave it behind. My fiancé, however, seemed to be enjoying it thoroughly. The way he looked at Alice was like he was the world's most devoted lover. Then came a screenshot from social media. In the photo, a pair of hands, man and woman, were intertwined on a pristine white sheet. The caption read, "I already know how this ends, but tonight, I just want to be selfish. God, forgive us." On the man's wrist? That was the Vacheron Constantine I gave Gabriel last year. I don't know if God would forgive them, but I knew one thing. I never would. I saved the image and replied to the senior, "Thanks." A few seconds later, she texted back, "Want me to catch them in the act?" I didn't respond. Even through the screen, I could feel her schadenfreude. If I wasn't mistaken, the video and photo had likely already made their way back to China. I pulled up Alice's social media and followed her account. There, I saw post after post, her digital diary of stolen affection. "Today Mr. Y said I'm always so clumsy. What would I do without him? I don't want to give him back anymore. Love knows no boundaries. Why can't I pursue my own happiness? I just want to love with everything I have, even if there's no future. The one who isn't loved is the real homewrecker." Beneath each post was a photo of the two of them, camping in the mountains, playing golf, speeding together at a racing club. By the looks of it, Gabriel hadn't attended a single class in weeks. Chapter 03. After finals week, the cold weather in Munich finally got to me. I fell sick. In the midst of a feverish daze, I vaguely remembered getting a call, but my head was too heavy, so I drifted back to sleep. I don't know how long I slept before loud knocking woke me up. I was sweaty and groggy, filled with a mix of exhaustion and irritation when I opened the door. And there, standing in the hallway, I froze. Outside stood a man, his figure covered in wind and snow. His cool, refined features looked slightly tired. In his gloved hand, black leather, he held two small pastel pink bags. The sight of it was oddly mismatched with his whole aura. "Noah? What are you doing here?" He frowned slightly. "Didn't you used to call me Noah G? Gu meaning older brother in Chinese." My expression turned cold instantly. He was Gabriel's older brother. I had no energy left to be polite to anyone remotely related to Gabriel. Sensing my attitude, Noah held out the pink bags. "Your brother asked me to bring these. He said you were sick." I reached for the bags, not thinking much of it. "If you're okay, I'll get going then." I nodded. Just as I was about to close the door, he reminded me, "Don't open the door for strangers living alone. You need to be more cautious." Classic Noah, nagging, just like my actual brother. I gave a perfunctory reply and shut the door. Inside the bag were some of my favorite snacks and cold medicine. The meds were clearly bought in Munich, but they came with sticky notes labeling the dosage in Chinese. I couldn't help but chuckle. I'd been studying in Germany for 3 years now. Noah still thought I couldn't read a German instruction label? I plugged in my phone, and just as it powered back on, my brother called. Did Noah arrive? Still chewing on spicy dried fish. I gave a half-hearted hum in response. "Good. Let me talk to him." "He already left." The voice on the other end instantly spiked. "You didn't even have him sit down for a bit? He flew 15 hours just to bring you that stuff. And you sent him away at the door?" After a scolding session, he hung up. I hadn't realized Noah had flown all that way just to check on me. Apparently, my brother had called and felt something was off. He couldn't come himself and couldn't get a hold of Gabriel either. So, since he happened to be with Noah, he asked him to stop by. Glancing at the time, I realized I had slept for a full 18 hours. I opened my chat with Noah. Our last message exchange was from last year. He had asked if spicy dried fish flavor was okay. I said no, it had to be numbing spicy, not just regular. He delayed his flight by 2 days, waiting for the next batch of my favorite flavor. His last message? So spoiled. I typed out a message, "Thanks," and sighed. I shouldn't be taking my anger at Gabriel out on Noah. Not long after, he replied, "MN. Still as sparing with words as ever." Chapter 04. They say illness hits like a landslide, and I was planning to recover quietly at home, until an unwelcome visitor showed up. The front door thundered under Gabriel's angry fists. Luna, open the door! When I opened it, he visibly paused at the sight of my pale, weak state, but within seconds, he was back to his usual rage. Snapping, "Did you tell my brother about Alice?" I raised an eyebrow and looked at the bruise near his mouth. Noah must have hit him. Luna, I can't believe you'd stoop so low. Why are you so obsessed with ruining things for Alice? Smack! Without hesitation, I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. Right cheek, courtesy of Noah. Left cheek, now from me. Perfect symmetry. Gabriel stood there in shock, staring at me with wide eyes like he couldn't believe what just happened. Why you? You hit me? Oh, what, did you want me to light incense and recite a blessing before slapping you? With that face? The privileged little prince was clearly not used to being hit. His cheek was quickly turning red. He pointed a trembling finger at me. You. I slapped his hand away, annoyed. You what? Your grand apology from the other day? It's still on my dash cam. In case you forgot. What's the turnaround time here? 5 days. Even Sichuan opera doesn't change faces as fast as you. His eyes darted away. I didn't realize then that I'd fallen for Alice. His voice grew more determined with each word. I want to break off our engagement. Smack! Before I left for Germany, my dad had warned me to stay calm when living abroad, to take a step back for a broader sky. I flexed my hand, it stung from slapping him again, but taking a step back only made me angrier. No way I could hold back now. Open your damn eyes and look at who I am. I'm your family's arranged fiancé. I'm the daughter of the lead investor in your family's biggest project. Say that to me one more time, and see what happens. I didn't have time to deal with you before, and you took that as me being weak. Clean up your mess, or I swear I'll burn everything down. And with that, I slammed the door in his face. Maybe I slapped some sense into him, because Gabriel finally kept his distance. A whole week went by without him trying to bother me. Alice's disgusting sidechick turned victim social posts disappeared too. In the international student group chat, someone organized a Chinese New Year celebration, this time at a ski resort town. I was about to decline, but Misty, a senior student, kept tagging me. Some girls were prepping dumpling ingredients and other Chinese dishes. Not many people had cars, so they asked if I could help with transportation. One girl in the group was known for her amazing cooking. When I saw her food pics, I caved. Nothing is more tempting to a homesick overseas student than a taste of home. By the time I arrived at the resort hotel, it was already dark. I helped carry some groceries and ingredients for the dinner. Inside the hotel lobby, it was warm and lively, a crowd laughing, chatting. No one noticed when I stepped in. Luna, you're here, Misty called out affectionately. All heads turned in my direction. I frowned. Seated beside her were none other than Alice and Gabriel. Come sit. I heard you two lovebirds haven't seen each other in ages. Chapter 05. The teasing comment instantly drained the color from Alice's face. Gabriel smashed the cup in his hand, letting out a cold laugh. Ha, just like a ghost that refuses to leave. Alice's eyes welled up. She tugged gently at Gabriel's sleeve and whispered, Gabriel, don't fight with her because of me. It's not worth it. The atmosphere turned tense. In our circle, everyone knew Gabriel and I were engaged, and judging by the awkward silence, they clearly knew he'd been cheating too. Misty's smug schadenfreude practically oozed from her eyes. I figured she must have lost her mind to openly and shamelessly pick a fight like this. Or maybe I'd been too easygoing. So everyone now assumed I was some soft pushover. I calmly put my things down and walked toward Misty, staring her down. Senior, I said with a smile. Did you invite me here hoping for a public catfight? Record it. Post it back home, so Gabriel can get another beatdown from his brother? A flicker of panic passed through Misty's face. What? I didn't. What beatdown? I didn't do anything. I turned and gave Gabriel a sarcastic smile. Oh, you didn't know? If Senior Misty hadn't broadcast that cross-cup toasting video of you two, how would your brother have found out? A dangerous glint flashed through Gabriel's eyes. It was you? Misty flinched and instinctively looked toward Alice, seeking protection. I didn't mean to. Alice, please say something. Alice softened her voice, face pitiful. tears spilling beautifully down her cheeks. Gabriel, don't listen to anyone stirring trouble. Misty didn't mean it. Faced with such a delicate damsel in distress, Gabriel sighed. Just this once. Don't let it happen again. Misty let out a long breath of relief, but I curved my lips into a smile. Senior, aren't you curious what I think? Heard you're heading back home to look for work. That going okay? Now it was Misty's turn to go ghost white. The crowd around us hadn't expected me to go on the offensive. Whoa, she's not holding back at all. Typical rich girl, bullying the weak with her connections. But Misty kinda asked for it. Why provoke someone like her? Each snide comment from the bystanders drained the color further from Misty's face. Now she was visibly shaking. Luna, I didn't mean. I kept smiling as I stepped closer. You think if I slip in some extra details about your campus activities onto your resume, you'll still land a job? A few of the surrounding classmates were from wealthy families too, friends of Misty's even, but none of them said a word in her defense. Luna, I get it now. I'm sorry. Can you let me off the hook? I blinked innocently. Don't you know? Us capitalists are famously petty. If I let you go, who's going to let me off? Haven't you heard that saying? Swallow your rage and you'll get breast cysts. Back down and boom, uterine fibroids. You want me to forgive you and die of repressed fury? In just a few minutes, Misty was drenched in sweat. She clenched her teeth, and finally, like a martyr at the guillotine, pointed directly at Alice. It was her. She told me to invite you. Chapter 06. The room fell into instant silence. Gabriel looked at Misty, then turned to glance at Alice beside him. His face was full of confusion and panic, just like I always described him, idiot. I tilted my head. Miss Alice, anything you'd like to say? Alice pouted, and I could tell she was gearing up for a full-blown cry, a performance titled Pitiful and Innocent Victim. But I wasn't in the mood to watch her act. Just as expected, her expression shifted. She blinked back the tears and spoke up, full of righteous indignation and fragile pride. So what if I asked Misty to invite you? Luna, you're a rich heiress. You can decide someone's fate on a whim. You have power and privilege. But me? I have nothing. I raised a hand and cut her off. Not true. You do have something, a whole lot of nerve. She visibly flinched, the hit landing right where I wanted it. You were born with everything. You didn't even have to try to win Gabriel's heart. But we love each other. And yet you still came between us. You made his brother hit him. Don't you feel even a little guilty? I stared her down. No, not even a bit. And let me make something very clear. I didn't come between you. You got in the middle of us. And frankly, I think his brother went too easy on you, homewrecker. And by the way, what's so glorious about winning someone like him? I didn't even bother dressing up my words. The moment I said homewrecker, it was like I'd stabbed her in the chest. Alice crumpled into Gabriel's arms as if I'd physically pushed her. Gabriel, naturally, jumped to her defense. He pointed his finger at me. Luna, that's too far. I narrowed my eyes, my smile widening. As he noticed me approaching, his expression morphed into mild terror. Step by step, I closed the distance between us. Didn't I tell you last time, point your finger at me again and you'll lose it? Gabriel held Alice tighter and started backing away. You didn't say that last time. Oh, well then, I'm saying it now. Before he could react, I picked up a wine bottle from the table and smashed it over his head. Crash! The bottle exploded. Red wine soaked Gabriel's hair, dripping down his face and onto his white shirt like blood. Ah! Alice shrieked, probably more from the splash than genuine concern. It took her a second to process what had happened. Then came the dramatic sobbing. You're insane. Gabriel, are you okay? Call the police. Hearing that, Gabriel instantly grabbed her wrist. No, I'm fine. Don't call anyone. Alice looked betrayed. Why not? You're bleeding. It's not what you think. Gabriel muttered, rubbing his forehead with a tired sigh. Just don't call. TCH. At least he wasn't completely brainless. Luna, he said after a beat. Can we just drop it for tonight, for my sake? I grabbed a tissue and wiped the wine from my fingers. Expression cold. And who exactly are you? What makes you think you have that kind of pull with me? But honestly, I'd had my fun. The bottle was broken. The insults had landed. And honestly, I wasn't in the mood to drag this out. No point cornering a pair of rats, eventually. They'll bite back. Consider yourselves lucky I'm in a good mood today. But Alice, ***, next time you try a stunt like this, it won't be Gabriel's head that breaks. It'll be yours. Stealing someone's man doesn't make you special. I added flatly. If you've got time to meddle in my life, maybe try reading a damn book instead. Chapter 07. I drove away from the ski town. There was no way I was staying with those gossip-hungry vultures. Before I left, a younger classmate had kindly packed some food for me. There weren't many cars on the road. The night was unusually dark. The air hinted at an oncoming blizzard. I instinctively pressed harder on the gas. About 40 kilometers from the city, the car skidded on a curve. I yanked the steering wheel hard. The vehicle twisted sideways, leaving me hanging dangerously on a mountain edge. No matter how much I floored the accelerator, the car wouldn't budge. I had no choice but to call roadside assistance. While I waited, I used the time to call home for New Year's greetings. But gradually, I realized something was wrong. The snow outside was getting heavier. The wind howled, and I could feel the car shaking. Visibility dropped below 10 meters. I hurriedly sent my location to my brother, but the call suddenly cut off. No signal. A chill ran down my spine, not from the cold, but from the creeping dread. With this weather, no tow truck could reach me. Who knew how long the blizzard would last? If it was just a few hours, fine, but if it lasted days? Thankfully, the gas tank was still more than half full. I wrapped every blanket and warm item I could find around myself. There was nothing else I could do, only stay warm and conserve my strength. At the same time, thousands of kilometers away, Ryan was panicking. He had heard Luna's location before the call dropped. The moment he hung up, he dialed Gabriel. No answer. His expression darkened. He called Noah next. Noah had just landed in Munich when his phone rang. Before he could speak, Ryan's furious voice exploded through the speaker. Is your brother dead? His phone is basically a ****ing brick. When Luna was sick, he vanished. Now she's in danger again and he's still missing? What's the point of having a fiancé like him? Noah froze, but he caught the key part. I'm in Munich. What happened to Luna? Ryan explained the situation. Noah's grip on his phone tightened. I'll go find her right now, I promise. Right before hanging up, Ryan left one final warning. If anything happens to my sister, tell Gabriel to wash himself clean. He's going into the grave with her. Chapter 08. The temperature in the car kept dropping, and my eyelids were getting heavier and heavier. At some point, I finally gave in and drifted off to sleep. Luna, wake up. A loud knock on the window jolted me awake, rubbing my eyes. I looked up and saw Noah's anxious face peering in through the glass. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. Before my brain even registered it, my hand had already moved to open the car door. The next moment, I was pulled into a cold yet comforting embrace. Above my head, I heard Noah's voice, laced with relief. You're okay, thank God. My heart thumped violently. Sleepiness was instantly gone. After holding it together for so long, now that I finally felt safe, everything inside me broke down. A wave of emotion surged through me: grievance, exhaustion, helplessness, and I started crying uncontrollably. The tears spilled like a dam burst, falling faster than I could even breathe. Noah gently patted my back, soothing me in a low, calm voice. It's okay, you're safe now, it's over. I cried in his arms for what felt like forever before I slowly came to my senses. My cheeks grew hot with embarrassment. Awkwardly, I mumbled, my legs asleep. Noah immediately released me. The always composed man looked flustered. For once, he cleared his throat awkwardly. Let me take you somewhere warm. Noah carefully carried me into his car. The temperature inside was warm and comforting, but instead of heading into the city, he turned and drove the other way. When I turned my head to question him, he explained, the mountain roads closed off. Snow's lighter up top. I saw a ski resort nearby. We'll rest there tonight. The roads blocked? I asked instinctively. Noah smirked. a rare glint of amusement in his eyes. Even if it was, I would have hiked up. Your brother was ready to murder Gabriel. My heart skipped a beat. A strange emptiness settled in. From the moment I saw Noah tonight, I had felt it. Something had changed. I stayed quiet. I needed to sort through my feelings. 8 hours. After a chaotic circle of events, I somehow ended up right back at the ski resort. Gabriel and his group were long gone from the lobby. Noah handed me a keycard and led me upstairs. I glanced at the card. We weren't on the same floor. He'd booked me a deluxe suite, and for himself, a regular room. After swiping me in, he stepped inside, checked the space, and made sure everything was safe. Then he turned to leave. Get some rest, he said gently. Just as he turned away, I reached out and grabbed his wrist. Noah. I'm scared. I could feel his body tense. On that always calm, stoic face flashed the faintest look of helplessness. After a pause, he sighed and gave in. Okay, I'll stay until you fall asleep. Chapter 09. Noah sat down on the sofa outside the bedroom. I took my pajamas and went to shower. By the time I came out, it was still pitch black outside. Noah was lounging lazily on the sofa, staring at his phone, expression unreadable. The moment he saw me, he froze slightly, brows furrowing. You'll catch a cold. Put something on. I ignored him and walked toward him step by step. Maybe it was the cold air brushing against my back that made me shiver slightly. Finally, I stopped in front of him, looking down at him from above. Noah, you don't have a girlfriend, do you? He slowly closed his phone, eyes confused at first, but then he nodded. I smiled, eyes slightly narrowed, a flirtatious curve tugging at my lips. Well, now you do. Hearing that, Noah finally looked at me seriously. I saw his brow twitch ever so slightly. After a moment, he spoke slowly. Your brother's going to kill me. I leaned in closer, my lips nearly brushing his ear, warm breath caressing his earlobe. So, are you scared? Before the words even fully fell, his hands were already lifting me by the waist. In a dizzying motion, he flipped our positions. Now he was above, looming over me, hands gripping my waist with restraint yet intensity. His eyes were deep and dark, as if he might devour me. Luna, you're being impulsive. My arms draped over his neck like boneless silk. Every move I made was deliberate seduction. I didn't answer his words. I simply repeated my own. Are you scared? The next second, his lips crashed down on mine. Noah kissed me with near violence, his lips grinding against mine without mercy. Then he whispered, voice hoarse, I'm not. The room warmed steadily from the fireplace. Silk pajamas were tossed to the floor like discarded wrapping. Outside, the wind howled madly. Inside, I stood at the eye of the storm. The roaring wind swallowed everything, even myself. I don't know when I started liking Noah, but I do know, when I like something, I take it. Chapter 10. I hadn't slept more than a few hours when the shrill ring of a phone woke me up. After everything from last night, my body and brain were both in a fog. Still half asleep, I grabbed the phone on the nightstand, seeing it was my brother calling. I didn't think much of it and answered, with a heavy dose of morning grumpiness. I muttered, what is it, bro? There was silence on the other end. I slowly opened my eyes, realizing something felt wrong. The phone didn't feel right, and in a sudden jolt, all my drowsiness vanished. It wasn't my phone. Right then, Noah stirred beside me. His voice was husky with sleep. What's wrong? I hung up, then glanced at him with some sympathy. It was my brother, calling. On your phone. Noah froze. He quietly took the phone and disappeared into the bathroom. Didn't come out for half an hour. When he finally did, I tilted my head with a playful smile. So, did my brother spare you? He let out a helpless smile. Phone died. Noah went down to the car to grab a charger. Meanwhile, I got up, did a quick wash-up, and headed to the hotel restaurant. The restaurant wasn't crowded this early. I ordered breakfast for 2 and scrolled through my phone while waiting for Noah. Luna, you're still here? Ugh. A chill of irritation ran down my spine. Of all people, why did I have to run into this guy again? After everything I'd done to him yesterday, Couldn't he at least take a hint and steer clear? Gabriel must have come alone, because he plopped himself right into the seat across from me like he owned the place. What's with the face? Listen, I'm not even mad about yesterday. He waved it off like a saint. I thought about it all night. You must have been jealous. That's why you were so angry, and I've made up my mind, we're not calling off the engagement. I'll try to keep Alice out of your face from now on. Just stop being jealous, okay? Oh, and about the finals, I failed 3 classes. My brother already found out. Could you tell the family it's because I was helping you study? He rambled on shamelessly, not even pausing to breathe. Once he dropped that last request, I finally snapped. You want me to take the blame for Alice now? Is your brain made of butter? Honestly, you're just jealous. Alice is way better than you. He snapped, cutting me off in a huff. I tilted my head and sneered. You know what I've realized? Some men are just pathetic, so used to being lapdogs. They've forgotten how to be human. You what? Can't even form a proper sentence. And what's with those prayer beads? You trying to cosplay as a spiritual influencer? Gabriel was wearing not 1, but 2 strings of Buddhist beads around his neck. The sight was absurd. You don't get it. I believe in Buddhism now. Alice gave these to me, they bless our love. I nodded like I understood. Makes sense. You definitely need divine intervention. Maybe Buddha can slow your brain rot just enough to help you graduate before you're 40. That hit a nerve. Gabriel shot up, ready to throw another tantrum again. But then I noticed something over his shoulder and froze. At the restaurant entrance, Noah and Alice were walking in, one behind the other. Gabriel followed my gaze. As soon as he spotted Noah, his legs gave out and he collapsed back into his chair like a deflated balloon. Chapter 11. Gabriel. What's wrong? Alice ran over to support Gabriel, her eyes full of resentment. Did she bully you again? I covered my mouth, afraid I'd burst out laughing. Right now, the last thing Gabriel wanted was Alice anywhere near him. Don't touch me. Alice froze. Bro, what are you doing here? I can explain. It was just a coincidence that I was with her this time. Noah didn't even spare him a glance and walked straight toward me. He sat beside me, pulled out a bottle of milk from a paper bag, opened it, and handed it to me. Only after doing all that did he finally acknowledge Gabriel. The family will no longer interfere with who you date or fall in love with. Gabriel's eyes lit up. Alice was even more radiant, stepping forward with a bright smile. Hello, big brother. I'm Alice. But Gabriel quickly realized something was off. He frowned and asked cautiously, wait, why? You no longer have a marriage contract. Joy exploded in Alice's eyes, but Gabriel's reaction wasn't what I expected. His expression grew complicated, and after a moment of silence, he suddenly stood up. When did this happen? I don't agree. I handed my empty milk bottle to Noah. He took it and, quite naturally, took a sip from it himself. You don't get a say. That idiot Gabriel still hadn't realized what was going on between Noah and me. But Alice did. She gasped, clutching her mouth. You're together? Gabriel, look at her neck. She pointed at me, and instinctively, I looked down. Too bad I couldn't see anything myself. But knowing Noah's intensity last night, it was normal to have some marks. I smiled and winked at Gabriel. Next time you see me, remember to call me sister-in-law. Gabriel looked absolutely stunned. Bro, you're kidding, right? Luna, I was wrong. I won't talk to her again. Noah's face turned cold. Miss Alice, please take him back to his room. Alice, crying, dragged Gabriel away. Finally, peace and quiet. While I was eating breakfast, Noah suddenly said, was it because of him that you got trapped on the mountain last night? I nodded lightly, dramatically exaggerating the story from last night. After breakfast, Noah asked me to wander around by myself for a while. He came back nearly an hour later. When I saw the scratch on his hand, I figured he had gone to chat with Gabriel. That evening, after dinner, we happened to run into the rest of our classmates who were checking out of the hotel. Their expressions were strange when they looked at me. They probably already knew I was with Gabriel's older brother, but I didn't care. People like them only dared to whisper behind your back. In person, not a peep. The funniest part? Gabriel, His face looked like someone had messed with the saturation filter, blue on one side, purple on the other. His head was wrapped in the very bandage I'd hit him into needing. When it was time to leave, he didn't even dare look at me. He bowed his head and said goodbye to Noah. Then, under Noah's stare, he mumbled, "Goodbye, sister-in-law." I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. Chapter 12. My car had already been towed for repairs, so Noah and I extended our stay at the hotel for a few more days. Every day was filled with skiing, hot springs, and pure fun. Right when we were having the time of our lives, my brother showed up. That morning, Noah and I were heading out to ski when a shadow came barreling through the hotel lobby. Before I could even see who it was, Noah took 2 punches to the face. When I finally saw clearly, I rushed to stop the attacker, only to be shoved aside by my brother. "You stay right here. Let me deal with this shameless old man first, then I'll come for you." Old man? I twitched at that. Noah's 5 years older than me, but only 1 year younger than my brother. So in his rage, my brother basically insulted himself too. Noah waved at me. He knew that unless my brother got this out of his system, he wouldn't let it go. So he let himself be beaten like a martyr. It was a one-sided massacre until my brother finally ran out of steam. The same brother who had mocked Gabriel's bruised face 2 days ago had now turned Noah's face into an abstract painting. "Brother," I called sweetly. "Don't call me that," he snapped. I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing at Noah's miserable state. "Luna, you still have the nerve to laugh? Oops, busted." I immediately wiped the grin off my face and tiptoed over to massage my brother's shoulders. "Brother dearest, you already hit him, so now you're not gonna hit me, right?" He shot me a glare, but I wasn't worried. The two of them had always gotten along. He was just venting his anger. Noah sat up, dabbing at the corner of his mouth with a napkin. Still bleeding, still composed. "At least I'm better than that punk Gabriel, right?" I said, "Don't call me brother." From that moment on, Noah and I were completely quarantined. My brother separated us during meals, kept us apart in the hot springs, and even sat between us on the ski lift. Before 8 p.m. each night, I'd be kicked back into my room like a grounded teenager. All I could do was text Noah from my bed. That didn't last long either, because he suddenly stopped replying. Instead, my brother called. "Luna, go to sleep. If you've got nothing else to do, watch your online lectures. Stop wasting brain space thinking about men." I sighed long and hard. When would this nightmare end? After 10 days in town, my brother finally went back to Melbourne. He dragged Noah with him under the excuse of not disturbing my studies. Back in Melbourne, I dove into coursework. I had to graduate this semester. No slacking allowed. Meanwhile, without me or the family keeping them in check, Gabriel and Alice flaunted their relationship like peacocks on steroids. I hardly ever saw them on campus. Midterm season came in the blink of an eye. That day, we had a lecture that was absolutely crucial for our final grades. So I showed up early. To my surprise, I saw Gabriel there too. Ever since that disaster at the ski lodge, Gabriel had been avoiding me like I was the plague. If I walked left, he'd swerve right. He wouldn't even meet my eyes. Halfway through the lecture, Gabriel suddenly answered a call. His voice cut through the quiet classroom like a knife. "What? I'm coming now." He jumped out of his seat and rushed out without even apologizing to the professor. Our professor, famous for being cold and strict, calmly pulled out his little black notebook of academic doom and drew a big red X next to Gabriel's name. TSK. Looks like Gabriel's college life just got extended to 5 years minimum. The girl sitting beside me nudged me. "Luna, aren't you going to talk to Gabriel?" I raised a brow. "Why would I?" "Well, aren't you going to be, family?" I laughed. Clearly, Jessie had no idea. There's a saying, respect other people's destiny. Let go of your savior complex. Besides, I was going to be his sister-in-law, not his mother. And honestly, even if I wanted to say something nice, there was nothing nice to say. Chapter 13. 2 months later, I graduated smoothly. On graduation day, my parents came, and Noah came along too. After taking a few family photos with my parents and me, Noah waved at Gabriel, who had been called over from a distance. "Take a family photo for us." Gabriel twitched at the corner of his mouth but still obediently followed. He took the camera Noah handed him and was about to snap the picture when he noticed it was on video mode. Suddenly, Noah knelt on one knee and pulled out a ring from who knows where. Damn. Gabriel couldn't help but curse. This was brutal. Luna, I know this is sudden and rushed, but I don't want to wait any longer. I want to be by your side forever. Today, in front of your parents, I promise to love you, to stay with you, until the very last moment of your life. Will you marry me? He didn't know that the moment he was captured on video with the moonlight diamond ring, my brother had already sent me a message. Dress up nicely on graduation day. That old man might propose. Even after all this time, my brother still hadn't let him off the hook. I stretched out my hand, my throat tightening for some reason. I will. Extra. After filming my brother's proposal, I felt like I had swallowed 10,000 flies. Half a year ago, Luna was my fiancé. Now, she's my sister-in-law. My brother took the camera from me and checked the video seriously. I never imagined someone like him could act like a teenage girl. Oh right. Don't come back to China this year. I instantly panicked. Was I being exiled? Come back after you graduate. 5, 7 years, it's fine. Even 10 or 11 years. No problem. Just don't come back too soon, or our parents might actually forget you exist. Honestly, your delayed graduation isn't even your fault. It's Dad's fault for naming you Gabriel. Think about it. Gabe sounds like gave up on graduating. I seriously suspect my always serious brother has been corrupted by Luna. I mumbled. Then I guess I won't be attending your wedding? He frowned, clearly considering it seriously. After a long pause, he finally said, I wasn't planning to invite you anyway, but it depends on what your sister-in-law says. Actually, forget it. Better you don't come. She definitely doesn't want to see you. I was speechless. Just then, my phone rang, an unfamiliar number. I picked it up. Gabriel. I feel so awful. My grip on the phone tightened. 2 months ago, Misty had called from the hospital saying Alice had miscarried. I was still in class when I got the call and rushed to the hospital. I had no idea Alice was even pregnant, and I was consumed by guilt for not being there for her. But when I arrived, the doctor said she'd lost the baby due to intense intercourse. I was stunned. Because the day before, I hadn't even seen Alice. She told me she was going out with friends and wouldn't be coming home. When they wheeled her out of the OR, she still had anesthesia in her system. She wore a red spaghetti strap dress I'd never seen before, with heavy makeup on her face. When she woke up, she cried and begged me to forgive her. Said Misty had taken her to a nightclub, and after one drink, she lost consciousness. I'd told her not to hang around Misty. She didn't listen. I didn't argue. I paid the medical bill and left. Since then, Alice's gone insane, trying to contact me, even though I've blocked her everywhere. She keeps switching numbers. She's even been lying, claiming I dumped her for someone else. Expressionless. I hung up, looking at Luna's smiling face. I felt a sharp ache in my chest. The moon once shone on me too. But I deserved nothing.